on your screen if you want. You'll be able to see the
Oh, I see it over there.
public chat. All right, I think we are live. Welcome to the Bitcoin broadcast, the HODL report live. We've got Marcus here, man. How are you doing? Big day today.
I'm good. Big day. Yeah, big news out there.
No, man, it's exciting. I think I kind of just want to talk about SpaceX first and just kind of bullshit about this because, I mean, it's been on the news so much. Like you can't even watch CNBC without, a 5-minute break. And then it's all about SpaceX. Can I tell you some fun facts though, really quick?
Yeah, hit me. What do you got?
Okay. So before this, I was like, I got to do like a tiny bit of research because I honestly, SpaceX, I bought one share for fun and it got fulfilled at $135 or whatever. So I was like, cool, I should probably research what I just bought because I don't even really care because I'm all in on Bitcoin and like, but so they raised $75 billion selling 555 million shares. Elon Musk is now the first trillionaire, which is insane. And we all know that people are going to hate that. And I love it because yay, capitalism.
Dude, what's he doing tonight?
Dude, I want to be on his boat tonight.
Right. Stream that, Elon. Let's see what you're doing.
Dude, yeah, he's probably trying to figure out how he can celebrate on the moon or something.
Right. Or whatever. He's doing something cool. You're a trillionaire? That's crazy.
That's insane. So I'll get into some other facts, but first, so 5 to 10% typically go to retail on an IPO, which is like a pretty small amount for the amount of shares. Only 5 to 10. Well, with this one, Elon made sure that 30% went to retail, which is pretty baller. He was like, I want retail to be involved in this because it's like so, momentum, like it's history. So I thought that was pretty baller of him. And then I didn't know this. I didn't know SpaceX was Starship, Starlink, and XAI all combined. So he combined all three of those. Did you know that? I didn't.
I did, and honestly, I'm glad you're filling me in with these fun facts because I was curious.
Yeah. So it's all of those combined, which is kind of cool because like XAI is like losing money, and then Starship obviously like figuring out how to relaunch rockets. I was listening to someone else kind of describe it. You know how we fly on airplanes and it's like, okay, well, what if every airplane you landed, you got off and it like blew up and they just had to rebuild a new one and like that, but it's a reusable airplane. And he's like, why can we not do that with rockets? And compared to NASA, none of them are reusable. So he's like, I want to build a rocket I can launch into space, it will come back down, and in 2 hours, I'm exaggerating, in 2 hours we can turn it around, load it up with more people, and launch it again. Like clean up the crumbs, put up the tray tables, and like you're off. And he's trying to do that with space exploration basically, which is absolutely insane. Like I would not fade Elon. But my last fun facts, so a trillionaire, no one can fathom this because it's absolutely insane. And I love these types of things. So like, I'm sure we've all heard it. Like a million seconds is, 11 to 12 days, 11 and a half days or 0.03 years. 100 million seconds is 1,157 days or 3.17 years. A billion is 11,500 days or 31 years, and a trillion is 11,574 days or 31,000 years. 31,000 years, and now he has $1 trillion. And I just think that that's like, you can't like fathom that how much money just went into this IPO. So those are my fun facts.
No, it's interesting. So the X, what was the one you said it was losing money? What company is that?
XAI.
Oh, so it's funny because that's like cyberspace, kind of like taking a sailor quote of like we're going to cyberspace first. So that's kind of cool. My thoughts on everything you said. So it's kind of cool he put that in there. The trillion thing. That's the only thing the only thing I've thought the whole time you're saying that is like, dude, we're printing $1 trillion in debt every quarter as this country. So like as you're saying that, I'm like, we're doing that 4x a year. on average. So 100 days, it's close to like 90 days.
That is
But
what.
I didn't buy it personally. I didn't buy. I kind of stayed away. It's kind of scaring me, and I don't know why. Maybe it's totally me. It's because it's like reminds me of like Coinbase IPO where I was like, oh, it's like a no brainer, and it was like the top of the Bitcoin market. But with SpaceX, I mean, I was skeptical of Elon back in the day, like with Tesla. I always thought he was kind of like this wizard that just kind of played a shell game with all these different companies. But dude, he's a winner, and you got to kind of respect that after a while. You like use the like Michael Jordan, kind of showing my age in the '90s. I wasn't a Bulls fan. I didn't like him, but towards the end of his career, you got to respect the guy. He's a legend. Tom Brady, same thing. If you hated the Patriots, well, even though he went to Tampa, towards the end, you still had to respect the guy. It's kind of feel like Elon, he's a winner. He makes it happen, and it's not like you got Tesla, and you got like what he's done with X as far as the platform there, and now with SpaceX. I kind of just want to see the dust settle personally. I just it's been so much tsunami, like where all the liquidity is pulling out of the market, and I'm assuming it's for it, and probably some of these other IPOs for these AI companies coming out.
Yeah.
Like, I just kind of want to see where the dust settles for a second before doing something. Because, like, let's be honest, like, yeah, if you would have been super rich buying Tesla, but dude, like in what 2012, 2013, but you still would have made a ton of money buying it in 2020, and that is actually the one that got added to the S&P, and that's why it had that sick run, after COVID, where it just split multiple times. That's when I gave up. I worked with a guy who was a huge fanboy for Tesla, bought one, and I was like, dude, and he was like, if you buy Tesla, I'll buy Bitcoin. So it's kind of funny. So I was like, all right. He's like, you want to go for a ride? And we took a spin around the block, and I was like, yeah, this is impressive. I mean, he did the auto drive, and I was like, this is creepy. I can't even imagine just like not driving, like letting it do it. But Elon's a winner. I just think with SpaceX, I kind of want to see the dust settle. There's going to be shorts piling on. It's cool he brought retail in to get paid. A lot of times it's for the insiders. So when you say it made a bunch of millionaires, I don't know if you've seen that term. Like you might see that on CNBC or something. That's people who like I don't know if you read the story of like a chef at their cafeteria had shares. That's who they're talking about. They don't mean
That's
us
so
buying the
cool.
shares on the open. You know what I'm saying? It's not us becoming millionaires yet. Like that's one of those ones you might want to give time. Let them show some solid earnings. This type of IPO for me, it'd be like you'd probably want to wait for it to get S&P inclusion, then just put your whole account in it and shut the computer. Not financial advice, but like you'd probably like triple it in like 9 to 12 months, right? At least from experience, when you see companies get added to it.
I mean, well, they changed the rules. Did you see that? How so? Like to get into the Nasdaq, like it could get into the Nasdaq in like 15 days. And
Oh, it just sounds like a
changed.
casino now. I hate that. It's like you can gamble even if you're 12, if your parents approve. That's what it sounds like. It just sounds like something we shouldn't be doing, because I think being patient is better. Like, let's make sure this all works out before we just front run stuff. And kind of like, we can make, like when meme coins kind of first hit, it was like, oh, it's worth all this money, and then it just died in like a week. It was just like dead. It's like, okay, it's like maybe a rush to the market isn't, maybe we should like rethink this. But I guess I guess you have to adapt or die, right? Like, okay, well, if it's added to the Nasdaq in a month, we'll buy it. You know what I mean? Like, get into it. But
I mean,
that's interesting.
the valuation is insane already. 1.75. It's already since it went up to 163. It went up to like 170 already this today, or like 168. So it already went up to a $2 trillion market cap. That's absolutely insane. I bought one share just for fun, just to follow it, see where it goes. I honestly, I might pick up some if it drops. Most IPOs drop 50 to 80% pretty quickly after the IPO. One of my friends sent me something, like the Coinbase one, and shoot, now I'm drawing a blank on all the others. He said there was like a list of all these big IPOs that were like, check these out. They all IPO and then just a grind down. And then it showed how long it took if you bought the IPO till you broke even. And the average was like 2 years. So if you buy the IPO and then it drops that much, it took an average of 2 years to come back to even. So if this one goes down, 70%, 50%, dude, I might pick up some shares. I mean, like I said, I'm mainly in Bitcoin. I'm mainly on that ship right now. So like I don't have a whole bunch of cash just sitting there waiting to buy IPOs or SpaceX. Like maybe in a year, if it's, I don't know, down to $30, $50 a share,
Well,
dude, I might
Facebook,
pick some
Meta
up.
did yeah, Facebook and Meta did the same thing. I remember it got smoked when it came out, and I knew people who bought it and like felt stupid. Do you think they feel stupid now? You know,
No,
there's
exactly.
if I haven't actually talked to that guy in a while, but I'm like, if you'd have held it that whole time, you're probably totally fine.
Oh, here it is. Meta, Snap, Rivian, Uber, Robinhood, Coinbase. They all dropped from 50 to
Oh,
90% in a
Robin
year.
Hood, shout out Ray Finkel. That's one of his. But hey, that's it, dude. It got an S&P inclusion and exploded. So
Yeah.
that's not a bad play. Yeah, no. I again, I just it's a lot of hype into it, and just watching all like actual assets that should be safe havens go down. Bitcoin. We're all in a bubble. Let's be honest. Like you talk to anybody about that doesn't know about Bitcoin, they're gonna look at you kind of crazy. Even with all the ETFs, even with everything, they don't look. Normies don't look at it that way. Sorry, and so like, but I like gold, silver. They've all been getting smoked. All that money's coming out of it, and it's just going into something more liquid, the dollar. Sorry, and it's a lot of talk that it's going into all these IPOs. We'll see. I mean, I guess if you're like, an evil genius, it's kind of like smart because you could probably pump these up and short the top. But you not to me, it's conviction's what matters, right? Like Bitcoin in a bear market, who gives a crap what price it is? I'm here. Your dollar cost averaging, you're buying low, whatever. You don't really care because you have conviction. Do you have conviction in SpaceX today? I don't, and I'm not going to put myself through an emotional roller coaster, right? To get into that. Anybody making money on that? Hey, man, good job. I mean, I want everyone to win, right? I just, for me personally, it's just not the trade I want to get into yet, but like what you said, oh yeah, that's always the perfect scenario. It's funny. It's kind of like someone talking about Bitcoin at 126. Like, well, if it just pulls back to 25K, I'm in. And it's like, well, yeah, so is everyone. So, and a good friend of mine down in Texas, we talk a lot, and one of the things he always says is, whatever target you want, bump it like 10 to 15%. So if you're thinking 30, maybe look a little bit higher than that, so you can get into it. So you don't get a 40 and miss it run to 1,000, right? Do you know how many shares are in the float total? Do you know? I'm just curious.
I don't off the top of my head. I saw that it was like 555 million or something.
That's a total share count.
I'm
Hold on.
sure I could find out. I just don't know off the
What's the
top of my
ticker?
head.
What's the ticker?
SPCX. So that, yeah. I don't
Yeah, it's
see it right now,
164. Uh, let's see.
but
13 billion shares out. That's a lot of shares.
yeah. So, but like you said, dude, I don't have conviction in it. But also, Elon Musk is kind of like the Michael Jordan of, you know, entrepreneurship right now, being the first trillionaire. He gets all the government contracts, so he's backed by literally like the U.S. government at
And
this
he's kind of
point.
like a Rockefeller at this point, right?
Exactly.
He's like a Dale Carnegie. Like he's like, I mean, they called, at the time, as far as much wealth they had, it was like they were considered trillionaires. It's kind of like Elon, and in power. It's like he has more than just money; he has power. He controls X, what we talk on. I mean, obviously, social media can influence not just what people buy into markets, but all sorts of behaviors. He's got a grip on that. I mean, his cars have lasted. I mean, I see him all the time still. Even when he attempted to try to fix the government and realized real quick that that's impossible, and he got out of that, which actually shows he's smart. It's like you can always question his motives, but it's like once he was like, "Hey, we're not fixing this. I'm out," and he took like a lot of slack from that.
Well,
And
even when half the United States, half the world hated him, people were
dude,
still
people are like
buying his
keying his
car.
cars. Like, really? You're like gonna key his cars? Like, you don't even know these people that these cars you're keying. Like, it's just crazy. But he's kind of starting to come out of that. I feel like that funk of being that person, starting to kind of
No,
pivot
he's
back.
gonna fall right back down because now he's a trillionaire. So
Oh,
all those people that hate, wealth and rich people, they're gonna be like, how much is he paying in taxes? And it's like, why do you care? If you could tax $1 trillion, that will last the government a quarter, like you said. Like, who cares? That's not
Right.
gonna change a damn thing. Like, I'm
No.
sorry, your like shitty life in whatever state you're in isn't gonna change if you steal Elon Musk's wealth. Like,
Right.
just let him be a trillionaire. Let him, you know, innovate and create these amazing companies that one day might make our children, our grandchildren's lives that much better. Like, look what he's doing with Starlink, which is part of this, giving internet around the world basically for free to people in like Africa or some
Or
places
even rural America, in the
in
states. I
America.
mean,
We have dead zones here, and yeah,
absolutely. Like you
we have
can't
to
run
pay.
the cost to run the great fiber build out for just pivoting here on this topic, but the great fiber build out is kind of like wireless about 20 years ago. That's happening now where you're starting to see it more like in northern areas. Like that cost a ton of money to build. That is not cheap. That is an ever growing industry. FYI out there, it's like all these small fiber companies spark up and source all these people and then get bought out. You got the big players trying to buy them. But yeah, there's not like you go to rural Minnesota, there ain't fiber out there. Maybe, but I doubt it. It costs so much money to run it. And so he's giving, and I heard it's actually pretty straight as far as
I heard it's
performance.
great.
Like I bumped in. It's funny when it's kind of hard to get a unbiased opinion because usually someone who's got it loves Elon, loves Tesla, so it's like it's amazing. It could suck, it'd still be amazing to them. But no, I think access is everything. And so I think him giving that, like you're saying, Africa, that's great. But I mean, there's still rural areas in the States that can't get internet. Heck, I'm pretty sure there's probably areas in Canada that are rural that he could probably give that. Or when he had one situation, man, where was it? Oh, it wasn't it like did we have like a natural disaster?
Yeah,
And he hit up Trump and was like, "We'll provide internet support." Like dude, that's so futuristically cool to me. Like, yeah, I tell my sons when we're playing 2K. He like let me play a little bit with him, and I was like, "Dang, the crowd looks so real." I was like, "That would have been something we noticed." And I feel like we don't have those like imaginative types of things with like technology. But then when you hear that, it's like, okay, that's something like if I was a kid, it'd be like, "Dang." They're just gonna fly satellites over that area and like give like and help them. It's so cool. And yeah, dude, Elon's an innovator, and I'd imagine his stock will do fine. Um, I just
I'm bullish on him. Long term, definitely. Like we said, like if price goes down, I'll buy
is
more.
betting against it. Does
But
betting against him win? No, like
no,
betting, but you got to have conviction. That's what it boils down to. You're willing to go to zero. You got to be like a Bitcoiner, right? You
yeah,
got to be like the guy that bought Apple in 2000. That everybody was like, "What are you doing?" And not for 4 grand, and now that's worth like 4 million.
yeah.
So it's like the guy who
I
bought
don't know.
Tesla in the beginning and like went through all the bad like remember they were every time a car allegedly got on fire or whatever the story was, the narrative, you held through all that. You know what I mean? And like I just don't have nowhere near the conviction for SpaceX. I mean, I own Tesla, full disclosure, but that's because you can't beat them, join them, dude. Eventually, what are you gonna do? You just gonna
Yeah.
stay on dial-up? You're just gonna stay on analog and be like, no, no, I have a great relationship with this company. Like, no, you move to digital. You move to fiber. You move to what works. Like, you don't just say, oh, you know what? I'm cool with. I don't need electricity. I got candles. Like, no. Eventually, you just move on. So,
That's fair.
speaking of which, what is Bitcoin's price right now? Is it 64,000?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it bumped up a little. I still we can talk about Bitcoin now because
Oh, I
it's
don't know. I don't know. I was just curious, just because
no.
I
I
just want.
mean, yeah. I think let me double check before I put my foot in my mouth. But yeah, so like 63.7, 63, so 64. Um, dude, that was a pretty brutal dump. I enjoyed it.
Dude, I'm like the guys that are like, I felt nothing. Like, I wanted it lower. I'm like, go, go. It's so funny because, like, me, we talk all the time, and I'm, like a secret bear just because we're in a bear market. And the moment I post something positive, it was like, it just gets hammered. And I got so much engagement from that. Like, great. So now everybody, like, thinks I'm just this bumbling idiot. I was like, I was almost like daring Bitcoin to go below 75. Like, oh, look how strong this support is. And then, whoop, just buy. It's funny saying 75. I mean, we're way off that now. I personally feel like there's one more leg down. I know everybody has some sort of colorful chart that is their own personal gospel that disagrees with that, but you got to like be like ready to sell Bitcoin for it to bottom. You know what I mean? Like you got to be like, this shit's over,
Well, I
Um,
wanted to ask you though because That's happened in previous cycles, but we didn't get the euphoric top this time. And I know last cycle we didn't get like the euphoric top as much, but this time, like I think last time because we were all banking on 100K. This time we got the 100K, but we were like 250, which was like way off. But
Right.
we didn't get a euphoric top at all this time. We just got like a grind up from the bottom from 15.5 to 126 over like 3 years. It was just like a slow grind up. So it wasn't euphoric. Do you think that the Bitcoin bottom won't be like that gut wrenching crash like we had last time? Because I'm almost kind of like, dude, we might get another leg down past 55, maybe to 50, but that's not going to make me want to puke. That's not going to like throw me for a loop. If we touch 20K, 25K, I might be like, shit. Like, well, I might have some feelings.
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna get that, and whether that's because I have more conviction now, I've been through it 3 times now. I don't know if that's the case, or if we just aren't gonna get that drastic thing unless like strategy blows up, and like they have to liquidate a whole bunch. That will cause it to go down. But other than that, I'm like, we might just kind of grind down to like the 50, 48K mark and then just like turn around. Like,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I actually am kind of betting on that, the 50-48K range, like heavily. We talked a little bit about that. Personally, that's kind of the range I think we kind of can go to. Is it possible? Yeah, I mean, I think if there's anything I would tell like a lot of the new investors into Bitcoin experience the first bear market is one thing you learned from this bull market into the bear is that we we broke a lot of gospels, and we usually do that in previous cycles. It might be one major thing, what was like it was like there was the one guy, it was like 200 trillion guy. He always had some chart, it was like colorful chart that he followed that broke. But I mean, it was like, man, like over 50% of everything that was so automatic just it didn't work. Like even
Plan B.
recently it's like,
Yeah, plan B. Sorry.
yeah, plan B, yeah. And there was one where it's like it's coming out of the rainbow chart, like expect it to do that. You almost, I'm kind of turning the other way, like break every chart, break it all down, just get out of this like absolute. And it's funny because I posted that pic yesterday where it was like 11,101 because I was kind of looking for bad takes, old screenshots I took that I was like, hey, look, it's going to 400K. I was trying to find some old, not to like hate on anybody, but to be like, no, like that broke down. So like we can't hold to certain things except for the 4-year cycle. I know it's like all of a sudden fruit starts getting thrown, vegetables getting thrown at me for saying that, but I do
Dude, it
I do
held
think
up,
there's
man. It
dude,
held
there's a
up.
total case for the 4-year cycle, and we didn't have a euphoric top. I kind of feel like our top was like when Trump got in. What, it was like 108, it went to 120. I mean, realistically, that ain't nothing. It just kind of stayed there forever. And yes, it is possible, but I mean, for me, from like an emotional standpoint, I feel like it's hard to tell from like fear and greed, but like fear just always, from my experience, moves it more. And I don't think a 20K, like you said, and I don't think strategy is gonna.
I don't think they're gonna blow
I
up.
don't think they're gonna break down, but I do think like it's starting to irritate the sailor worshipers, if you want to call him that he's like saying, I'll sell Bitcoin. I mean, I know Sailor, dude, he made so many good videos. I get it, but it's like you guys gotta know that like he created these engines for the existing financial market, not Bitcoin. Get used to your heart being broken. Just it's like every cycle there's some amazing person that ends up either being a scam or just not, just kind of the Batman, live long enough to become the villain. I actually like that this is happening personally for me. I like that they're saying he might sell because it's just pushing that price down. And I'm looking at it from the other end like, oh man, push this thing under 100. Because as everything goes, dude, dude, the goldfish memory of the world, like in 4 to 6 months, this could be easily back to 180. And everyone's like, dude, he's almost got 1 million Bitcoin. Everybody will forget that he even sold 32, or he could sell 32,000 Bitcoin. And I almost want that, like push it down under 100 so the people can buy your stock cheaper because it's gonna go. You just gotta like kind of swim, like be like the 5%, right? Everybody's talking about how awful he is that he's selling. It's like I'm just kind of sitting back smiling, like, yeah, he's an awful person. I almost want to just encourage it, like, dude, any long-term shareholder should sell so that we can buy. You know, hey, if you don't have conviction and you don't see this game that they play, they do it the other way. They did it with silver. They're like, oh well, there's some sort of battery for a car from Samsung. They're gonna need so much silver. Silver's down like 50% from the top. Everybody wanted it at 100. Don't nobody wanted it at like 60 or whatever, 65 where it's at now. Nobody wanted it, you know. So it's just interesting like that. Nobody cared about oil until Iran, you know. And all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, it just explodes. It's like whatever that narrative is for every asset, you know, just don't be the last guy to turn the lights off. I think MicroStrategy is a ridiculous value under 120. I'll say that, but not financial advice, right?
Oh yeah, no, none of this is financial advice, and I completely agree, man. We sold. I think I told you this, that we sold our oil stocks. That we sold it at like the top. We put in an order for Cord Energy for like 150. It hit 151. That was the top, and so yeah, I was like, nailed it. And I think right now I'm trying to I'm not doing exactly what you're doing with MSTR. I'm more averaging down, because like you said at the very end, under 120 is like such good value, dude. Like I think it easily just cruises back up. He's gonna get 1 million Bitcoin. Selling 32 Bitcoin is so funny to me. How many people threw a fit, because that was like 0.0004% of his stack, which is like if you have a full Bitcoin, that's like selling 4,000 satoshis of your stack.
That's
you
funny.
know, it's like a couple dollars worth, and it's like people are like throwing a fit. So we'll see. I do hope it goes lower though. I want MSTR because I'm in it for the fiat gains, man. If he's gonna buy all this Bitcoin and we're gonna have all these people like falling over in love with him, like I want to take some of that ride too. I want some of that money.
I mean, he survived a bear market already, you know, so it's like, gotta give the guy a little credit. You know, it's kind of like Elon, like, okay, he kind of won that. You know, he made a ton of money for, heck, you didn't have to be an IPO guy. You know, you could have bought in at pretty much a lot of different points for MicroStrategy during the bull run and made a ton of money. You could have looked like a genius, you know, and like all altcoins, I mean, you know, treasury companies, you know, there was all these other ones that came out and then those didn't work. And it's kind of like, it's kind of becoming what we kind of always thought, like he'd end up being the kind of king treasury company, which is what he's doing. I mean, there's other ones out there where it's like a lot of talk and then just nothing happened. And it's just like, you know, a lot of imitators. We'll see. I just think it's a good opportunity long term to get into that. But what could derail it other than like Bitcoin's price, other than strategy? I mean, honestly, the ECB raised rates this week, so like nobody cares about that because everyone's talking about, you know, the moon and space, you know, because of SpaceX. They raise rates. You know, what do we expect is going to occur, you know, when our rate thing comes up? Who knows? All I know is I saw a number that said by the end of the year, like the expectation to lower rates was like less than 2%. End of the year. And it was like 2/3 of the likelihood was that they'd raise rates. And so it was like, how's the market going to deal with that? Because like you can cut rates, but that doesn't mean bonds are going to follow. I mean, we're kind of pivoting into a new convo here, but bonds aren't just going to follow. You could cut rates to whatever you want, but like people, you know, it is what it is as far as, you know, what they're going to price out the bonds to, like treasuries and stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of weird. They're raising rates to try to handle inflation. I mean, which is really just caused by this war or conflict, whatever we want to call it, which ended today, or it's going to start, or it's going to end. It's going to start. I mean, I'm kind of like dizzy.
Dude,
you know,
it's ridiculous. And of course, they announced that like the war is over again on like IPO day, and it's like, oh, right on cue. Like,
right.
Okay, let's pump this thing as much as physically possible.
It's like, dude, just buy puts. Like right when he says that, I'd be like, all right, cool, buy puts today, so the price falls when the war starts again, then buy calls again. Buy like a call 2 months out. Like I sometimes am like, why am I just not playing with him and doing this? Like I kind of feel there's two things I know it's a bear market. One, there's just you're not a genius anymore. Bull market, everybody's a genius. And then two, there's just like this situation with Iran. It's kind of hard to take investment seriously.
It
Like,
is.
all right, I'm gonna go long term with what? Like every day, it's some sort of like algorithmic dynamic to move the market in a weird way. Whereas, I mean, from if you zoom out realistically, like if you could just make money, like you don't worry about the day to day. But yeah, it's just been like AI. So that's another thing about AI. Like if you look at a lot of these companies that have just ran, like it's almost like I was thinking about this morning, walking the dog. I was like, it's funny because most Bitcoin people think of a crash, a collapse in the dollar, where it's going to just be worthless or whatever. But the crash is kind of happening, but it's up. It's just crashing, like, and so you go, oh, Elon's worth $2 trillion. It's like, well, what is even true? What is it? What is a dollar? Like, what is that even? How do we conceptualize the value of dollars anymore? Then you're like, well, then how are like precious metals getting smoked, and how is Bitcoin getting smoked? That just like everything's so like. Can you imagine being like the kind of person that went to like school for finance and all these like, you know, like hardcore price to earning ratios and book value and all this stuff you'd learn, and then to come into the madness, and it's like you walk into the office and everyone's smoking meth. Like, hey, we just gonna buy this ticker today because it just makes money. You know what I'm saying? And all the it's like, when was the last time somebody fundamentally looked at a company? And was like, well, let me look at their book. Nobody cares. It's all technical analysis and like what the president's gonna say, or like what the trend is on social media. It's just crazy, and I think that's the case for Bitcoin. To be like, well, this would be the time you'd want something serious. And Bitcoin is serious, seriously cheap.
Well, I think we're in like the AI bubble because every company is just announcing that they're implementing AI and their stock goes up 30%.
Dude, I seen
That's
some recently. I swear it was like comical. I was like, I
Cracker
saw
Barrel.
some like Campbell's soup or some shit.
Cracker
Sorry
Barrel
to
did it.
swear, but it was like Campbell's soup or Tyson's. It was something like what? Like it just made no sense. Like all right, and then the stock rose. And I'm like, dude, like, wow, like is that what we really wanted for Bitcoin and treasury companies? Because we were all saying that like all these companies should hold Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Is that what you really wanted? You really wanted like every company to be like we bought 100 Bitcoin, and no, actually, no, I don't want that. I just want Bitcoin to be taken seriously, and I just feel like there's a lot of effort to make it not serious. You know, um,
Well, I think that's why everything will come back to Bitcoin. So the people that are out there playing right now, gambling on all this crap, trying to catch the next AI little 30% swing in a day, trying to jump on this IPO. Now Anthropic is coming out, and whatever other one. What do you know? Do you remember the other one that comes out like
I,
next
I
month
thought
or
it
so?
was I thought it was OpenAI.
OpenAI, thank you. Yeah. So those are going to come out. Like people, that's all they care about right now, and sports gambling. So eventually,
Don't even get me
this is
started.
going to dry up. We can talk about sports gambling. I won money last night watching South Korea. I bet on South Korea. But I put like $5 in, dude. Um, but anyway, this is going to come full circle because this is going to all crash, I think. It's not going to be pretty. And I don't know if this is, next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. But the people that have been steadily buying Bitcoin this entire time, instead of like trying to focus on trying to get quick gains here and there, the people that are buying the real assets, I mean, this is why we got into Bitcoin, right? It's like, dude, what is this money? $1 trillion. We're just throwing out numbers that these companies are valued at $1 trillion, and I'm pretty sure SpaceX like doesn't make money yet. Like they're not profitable, but it's worth $1 trillion. So we're just throwing out numbers. Eventually, what is money comes back to the conversation, and people are going to land on gold, they're going to land on silver, and they're going to land on Bitcoin again. And that it comes back to the roots of like why we got into Bitcoin and it's so noisy. Everyone is just listening to, they want clicks, first of all, the headlines, and then
Be honest.
you're searching for a quick
Be
buck.
honest. That's like every quote. That's every post. Be
Oh my
honest.
god, yeah, be honest. So if
And I always want to comment and be like, no. I just want to comment and say no. And just to be stupid because it's like, no. But then they'd be like, yes, he engaged with me. You know, it's like, I don't know. That's funny you mentioned that because like I feel like the clicks has kind of taken away from like the quality content. Like I feel like I'll scroll X and it just be like nothing. You know what I mean? Where I felt like, man, you would just read posts and read articles and read things and be like, it was used to be so interesting and so dynamic. I do agree that AI is ridiculously running. I mean, open AI. Look, dude. I mean, that might not be a bad. If you got conviction in that, I mean, that's probably not a bad company to
it's
invest
gonna
in.
be worth something. It's cool technology, but is it? I don't know.
Well, look on the back end though. So like the data center, right? I actually heard someone's like they require like 100 gig circuit for the internet need they'd need. Um, they don't listen to local anything. If it's gonna get built, it's getting built whether you like it or not. That's weird. And tinfoil hat. I just think there's surveillance tools, and so
I
we're all investing into these companies to make more dollars that are easy to move, right? So what are we saying? Why is gold going down? Why is silver going down? Why is Bitcoin going down? Because they need more liquid asset, which is the dollar, right? It's liquid now, with enough data centers, with enough storage, right, of like your information of everything you do / social credit score. Now all of a sudden they could tell you you're not spending your money. Now you can't. Now it don't work. Now your car don't start. Now you can't buy it. Now you can't buy groceries.
think
You think
everyone
having to wear
forgot about this. So that conversation was really heavy, and not to get political, it was a lot heavier when Biden was president, when the Democrats were in charge, and that's fine, but like that's still a reality, dude. That conversation was a lot more prevalent. Now that Trump is president, I don't hear that talk anymore about like,
well, because they can do it. They can get away with it, right? So that's how you got to kind of look at that. Like, you look at COVID lockdowns, like they probably couldn't have got away with that with Hillary. Being like we're going kind of down a political path here, but like
no,
they
that's
could
fine.
get away with it because the Trump people would be like, it's just okay, it's just 2 weeks, like he did. Like if it would have been Hillary telling you to lock yourself down, you think like the right would have been like okay with that? They would have been like, you ain't locking me down. It would have been chaos. And so when you say that no one's talking about it, it's because it's okay when it's my guy. I'm trying to play like whenever I used to, work in finance, I always played like, who do you like? Okay, cool. And I would just kind of go with that. But yeah, I think it's interesting how like, and it's just going to expand, right? Like it's just going to like, they're just going to keep building them. We see what it's doing to the natural resources. I mean, I've heard all sorts of wild stuff. Like they're actually building them for all their bunkers, which is I always thought that was kind of interesting. But I think it's for surveillance. They don't put cameras everywhere and need a massive facility. They don't need storage for you to make pictures of, Trump wearing a Superman S on his chest, right? They need that for surveillance and a following you, right? And so I think that's the problem. And it's like, dang, you gonna invest in your demise? Like it's kind of. I remember I had someone say to me years ago, and I laughed when I was younger, like, I don't care if they kill babies, I'm investing in it. And I was like, dang, and I like laughed about it. And it's like, I actually care now. Like I'm an adult now. Like as a kid, you don't care. You're just trying to win on a trade. But the older, you kind of want to have some sort of ethical, feeling about like what you, I mean, I would think so. Like maybe not. Maybe it's just like, who cares, right? Because, I mean, that's what concerns me about AI is what its real intention is for. And I just find it super weird that like no matter how many people go in front of a podium and say, hey, you're turning our water into toxic waste like freaking Captain Planet, everyone's like, no, they're just going to still build it. And it's just so loud I can't even hear myself talk in my house. It's straight. It's like my water doesn't come out of my faucet. Nah, it's okay. Hey, did you have did you need us to write you an email template? It's like that can't be the reason. So I think I posted something like that. They like tried to make it show you how it's useful before they use it fully against you. you
No,
know, and so
exactly. It's the same thing. It's for your safety. It's to help your life, right? And then they turn it around, and all of a sudden, they've been gathering data, since the internet turned on, and it's like, well, now they can do it better, quicker, more efficient, and they're gonna build these things right next to your house. You have no say in it, and you're gonna shut up and make it happen, and then you're gonna invest in the companies doing it, like OpenAI, and then you're gonna hope that you can make money, and then, like you said, your money's gonna be worthless, and you're gonna be like taxed to the tits, and
well, we only talk
your
about we only talk
CO2
this.
emissions, like.
Yeah, we only talk about it this way because our country doesn't like us, right? If our country actually liked us as like citizens and people, then we would be super fired up about AI. Like, sweet, I don't got to work this BS job no more, man. Like, oh man, they're taking away call center jobs. What are we gonna do, dude? A call center would be terrible. That's a terrible job, and it should go away. Right? It's like AI's gonna replace all our work. Good. Good. Get rid of all our debt and get rid of all these nonsense jobs that create no meaning in life, right? But no, no. They're replacing you and you still got to work. If you want to like really think about like the impact if like we still got to pretend the world's like 20th century and still work with AI as far as cost. So like I don't I mean I know it's the Knicks and the Spurs, right? Like I'm just like old now. I don't know all the players, but like there was a photo I saw on X, and it was like, I think they went to the finals when like Jordan went to play baseball or whatever, and it was like Allen Houston. I remember him, and it was like nosebleed seats, same section was $65, and then it was like today it was like 6,500, 6,500. I'm like, dude, we've already collapsed. We've already broken down. We're all just kind of pretending. And I think that's the greatest fear is like realizing that the collapse already happened and we're crashing up. I mean, dude, how many charts have you just seen do that? And but if there was one where you're like they're all kind of junk. The only one I actually like kind of like to watch is that SanDisk one because it just goes up like 175 a day, and there's only 169 million shares in that float. That's kind of like when Sailor first stock hit 1,000 before he split. That's the only one where I'm like, dang man, that's just crazy. Like I saw it go up 100, down 100, then I looked at it the next day and it was up 175. I was like, holy cow. But
I don't follow that one.
yeah, old school SanDisk, like literally the what you used to put in your phone back in the day. Like that one was like $100 like 6 months ago. It's like $2,000 now or something crazy. That's the only one I watch where I'm like, it's just kind of fun. Like, dang, they made a comeback. Like, good for them, just because I remember them from years ago. But no, I think there's greater concerns with AI than just you having a bigger number on your screen. As far as like no one, I mean, dude, you just ask somebody in 2018, like, all right, so this thing called COVID's gonna come and it's gonna like shut everything. I have to wear a mask, not gonna be able to go to work. No one would have believed you. It's kind of like, all right, well, like you go back another generation to 9/11, and then it's kind of you kind of wonder to yourself, like, well, what's the next thing they'll do? What do you think they're gonna do when they have AI data centers in like 2 in every county in the whole country? Or like well, even one and one per region. It's like, well, what's going to happen with that? But I don't know.
But
And I think that's where Bitcoin wins because like you would have
exactly.
actually something you could transact with, right? Like I still could transact digitally with people without somebody shutting my bank account down.
I was
Without.
on a podcast yesterday with like Nurse Hoddle, and we were talking about, like when eventually something like this happens. We were talking about like 20 years from now, like what's your hope and why you have so much hope in Bitcoin. And I was like, well, it might not happen in 20 years, but we can kind of see the road to where we're headed. And I was like, talking about the CO2 emission thing, I was like, I buy steak quite often, like every week, and they can track what you freaking buy on your bank account already, and they can give you a CO2 credit score on your bank account already. They're doing it in Europe like crazy. I don't see it pop up on mine quite like yet, but I've seen other banks kind of put that in there. Like when I was buying a plane ticket, it was like, this is how much CO2.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen that.
And
I've seen that.
I was like, whoa, dude, like, okay, that's coming. And so when it gets to the point when they're like, hey, you've already bought, your 5 pounds of steak this month, you're not allowed to buy steak anymore. And I'm like, I'm gonna have Bitcoin, bro. There's so many ranchers here in Florida. I will transact with them in Bitcoin. I'll go buy a quarter of a cow with my Bitcoin because I don't have to worry about my bank account. So that's it's gonna come back to Bitcoin at some point. But then talking about the charts, looking at like the great financial crisis, that little like blip in the S&P is like beep, and then we're just like up into the freaking right, dude. It's a hockey stick like mad. What happens when that comes down at all? What's the next crash? When's that going to happen? And how wrecked
I
are
mean, it's
people
kind
going
of
to
makes you
get?
think to crash up. Well, one thing I'd recommend getting a quarter cow. Find a local farm. I get one like twice a year. So I just picked mine up yesterday. So my whole freezer's stuffed,
I want to
steaks,
do that.
ground beef. Yeah, find one you get a relationship with. You just text them like, "Hey, what do you got?" Or they'll tell you when they're butchering it. I mean, if you're into pork too, you can find a hog. And if you find other people, you can go in on it. Um, at least I know where my food's being grown locally, and I can like skip the whole CO2 when I go to the store. So anyway, I just figured I'd throw that out because I just literally picked one up
That's so
yesterday.
funny.
As far as like, what was the other part you were saying about? Oh, like when the next crash comes?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, it makes you. I don't think there'll ever be a recession. I always joke about that when someone's like, "These are recession indicators." I'm like, "We're never gonna have one ever again." Like once COVID went down for like a month and then ripped, and they're like, "This is technically a recession." Then they like changed the definition of what a recession was. I remember seeing that and was like, "Dude, that's actually." I'm pretty sure it's a question on the security industry essentials exam, and that you're just changing that. Hopefully, the person isn't like one answer away from failing and listens to you. Um, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. It's like, why would it crash? What would they need to raise the money for when they're kind of cheating and printing it themselves? It's kind of sometimes I think that, like, do we ever need to cut rates if money's just free to the elite? Like, is that even that's our problem. What do we care? We don't even gotta, as a country, we could just be like, we're just not paying you back. What are you gonna do? We're the military. We'll just bomb you. And so there's kind of those concerns. I actually like, I don't negatively look at the market blowing up that way. I kind of wonder where money will go. I think we've talked about this like just through chat, but where will it go after AI? And like, I just feel like it's going to go to utilities. Like they're going to have to like upgrade all these utilities to support it. I could see that maybe being some sort of bipartisan agreement of like the government agreeing to like invest in America, maybe. Like I could see that being advantageous because there's just no way it can support it. Like I know for a fact, like a lot of the air traffic control is like, most of those buildings are copper. And you're running fiber to that. Like it can only some of these things under I think it was a Cat 3 can only handle like 100 meg, whereas you could be pumping in there 10 gig, 100 gig circuits. What's the point if it can't do that? So I don't know. I always heard a good adage was money doesn't die. It doesn't go to money heaven. It just finds other assets to flow into. And I just think we just get into more levels of ridiculous valuations. We're talking about SpaceX as being worth almost, or you said $2 trillion. It's like, dang, you worth $2 trillion, like, and like you didn't really do nothing. It'd be one thing if it was like, yeah, we invented like the wheel or some shit. You know what I mean? Or something crazy where you're like, oh, well, they actually did something that's, you know, like you said, if they were like, yeah, here's a rocket that does the same exact thing as an airplane, and here's a tour you can invest in where you orbit Earth and do all this stuff, and it costs X amount to let the regular person participate. It's like, okay, well, like, what are they doing? Like, why is space so valuable? You're gonna tell me some asteroids got 6 million tons of gold on it or something that we're gonna somehow mine? It's like I don't. I guess I kind of am curious to like how that all works, but
I think it's. I heard a funny analogy. It's like men would, rather, they'll rather go to space than like go to therapy at this point. It's like, it's
for
like
real.
building in the United States or building in some countries. It's like there's so many regulations. You have to do this. You have to do that. People now. Elon's like, I'm just gonna go to space. Like, screw you guys. I'm just gonna go build out there because there's no regulations out there. But I'm like, yeah, I don't understand the point either. So I don't know how does a company like SpaceX even make money? Like, what do they sell?
And hence why I'm not really buying today. I mean, I'm just gonna like let it work, and I'm sure there's someone out there, that's got like a duck face cartoon on X that can just be like, "Listen, idiot," and just tell me how it is, just like we always laugh like it's like when I share my opinion on Bitcoin and I'm bearish, or if like it's a contrary, opinion to the field. It's for your own good. I'm not telling you this to like sell or to be a prick. It's like, hey, I'm telling you this because like, dude, I already went through all this. And we always laugh because it's like these guys have been here for like 2 months are just like, the kings of Bitcoin trying to like tell me what time it is. Like, all right, man. Like, um, there's a lot of pain ahead still, I think, in the bear market. There's like, well, I'd say maybe not that much now. I'd say we probably got like 5 months left of like before you kind of see that where a person would be like almost like, I gotta just sell this. I'm getting stung. And then they sell, and let's say they sell at 48, and they look back in like March, and it's like 62. And they're like, oh, it's just gonna fall off. And then they look in May, and it's like 84, and they're like, dang, I missed it. And they're not gonna buy until it's like 120 again. And so I just think we're kind of getting to that point with Bitcoin where it's like, there's probably like one more. The new gospel is like 60K is like just never gonna. It doesn't even matter that it went below it a little bit. I'm impressed you got to buy below there. That's nice. That's
Yeah, I gotta
We'll be
look.
sharing that in like 3 years. I'm like, yo, this dude's the man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like people think 60K is like so strong. I'm like, dude, Bitcoin is always gonna like rub it in your face and prove you wrong, right? It's just gonna smoke through that and go down to probably like low 50s, and everyone's just gonna be done. What a good like indicator is when you start seeing these like cartoon guys post like, I'm done. This is it. I've spent so much time in this industry creating stuff, and I'm just lost everything. I swear there must have been some sort of short like chat room initiative level, because it was like in my feed where I was like, oh man, these guys are all of a sudden selling. Interesting. They're all of a sudden out, get smoked, and now they're all gone. Like I don't hear any of that now. So like I guess that's an indicator. You start seeing people, talking about I don't feel well about my life. Like some people post stuff on X they shouldn't, but it's like you start seeing that, like that's probably it. Because I remember 18. I remember like October of 18 when it broke through 6K and went all the way to like, I feel like it went to 31. It might have went to 38. I'm getting kind of old now, but I remember how painful that was to be like, damn. But that was it. That was it. And then it went back over 4K, and then we didn't really go there anymore. We were blessed last cycle to have a reason, FTX.
Yeah.
We were actually given a reason. Like, it wasn't like this just sucks and it's dead. It's like, oh, we had this reason. And I feel like we're all looking for a reason, but 2018 will tell you don't really need one. And just get it over with. Just pull the Band-Aid off. That's my thing. Like, all right, I'm ready. Like, break it down.
Dude, people are getting bored to death. That's the
Dude, I
problem.
totally agree.
I
Totally
think
agree.
Checkmate was talking about this on one podcast like a month ago. He was like, we're in that period where if you just have a DCA on and you're buying in this bottom range and just consistently buying, or you're going to throw in a big chunk when it does a one last dip, he's like, you're going to make a killing. Because right now is that time when people are so freaking bored of Bitcoin because it's just going like, and then it's like beep, and then it's just like sideways again for like 3-4 months, and people are so bored they can't fathom buying something and like going outside. And I know we talk about it like go touch grass, but in the real life outside of our Bitcoin bubble, people actually struggle with that. They like financially when they're like looking at what to buy, they have to constantly be doing something like the sports gambling. Like they have to be like there has to be some sort of rush. There has to be,
Totally.
like freaking your head is in it. Like you're
You're
gonna
so
make it.
smart.
You're
That's
gonna
like
make
I'm so
10x.
smart. I'm an investor, and I
Yeah,
make good financial decisions. And it's like they just can't see their account down 50%. You know what I'm saying? They can't share that with their friends at work. They're like, man, I'm getting smoked. Or you know how it is being a Bitcoiner? People will be like, people are real quick to tell you it's down. You know, I'd be like, oh, you still invest? How much is that? It's still 100,000. You're like, no, it's actually 60. I had somebody kind of cut into me like that, and I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, I thought it was a good hedge against the dollar. I was like, nope, don't even buy it. Like I'm like a kind of a prick now. Like, oh, don't even buy it. Yeah, don't buy that. You know, because I just feel like if I still haven't convinced you over a decade, then you're just kind of being a prick, right? So yeah,
I have a
there.
friend. I'll tell you really quick. I have a friend who I don't know if he'll listen to this or not, but he's a good guy. He was a developer for another crypto, and so we would talk crypto stuff, and I would just constantly be like, dude, just please like put some into Bitcoin, and he'd be like, well, technically, because like he's the nerd type, and I'm like, I don't have the answer because I know it's not as fast as yours. It can't send 2 billion coins in 3 seconds. I get it, like it's slower, but I'm like, can you just learn like first principles about Bitcoin and put some in there? Well, now he's saying in the group message, like, dude, crypto's dead. He's like, his boss, he was like, oh, he made, tens of millions, if not like $100 million off this coin. And
Damn.
and I'm like, thank you for proving my point. Your boss made how much money again? What did that coin do for the world? Please let me know. That's crypto. That's what you're investing in, bro. And I was like,
Right.
Bitcoin is fine. Bitcoin's going to be just fine. It's going to be here. Your coin that you have been talking shit, saying that it's better than Bitcoin and it's going to change the world because it's so fast and it's shiny and does this and it, whatever you want to say. Bitcoin's still here, bro. Yours is down 96%. Bitcoin's down 50%. And I don't care. It's going to come back. Now you're just focusing on like these minuscule price points. Like,
It's kind of sad, because like I
yeah,
had the same people be like, it's fast. I'm like, Bitcoin doesn't need to be fast. It just that's not the point. And they'll go, well, this is like instantaneous. I'm like, so's my credit card. So's the bank. So if I use my debit card, I could just give them cash. I'm like, there's actually, if that's your like, sell there, I don't want it because there's already something that exists that's terrible already, right? I could just earn points on my credit card if I wanted to do that. But I had kind of similar engagements. Everyone I ever referenced, just for the record, I love you and you're amazing. But I've had other people reference me other coins that they were, like you said, they were IT guys. They couldn't have a finance guy find some tech, right? Like, so they had to find something, and guess what? It was worthless. Nobody wanted it. Nobody cares. And like, I just don't even say nothing no more. I'm like, it's almost like you feel bad. Like that's what Bitcoin will do to you. You'll feel bad because you've crushed this trade so much by just having conviction, like we said in the beginning, having conviction towards it, that these people start trying to like, I don't know if you ever seen the Family Guy from back in the day where like it was like Stewie and this girl, and they were like actors, and she was gonna go chew him out, but he kind of was just kind of cracked out, and she like walks away, and her driver's like, well, did you tell him off? And she's like, I didn't even need to. It's kind of like that with Bitcoin, where it's like you kind of feel like, oh man, I told you, but it's like it's almost like you don't even want to tell him. You almost feel bad, like, dang man, you could have got down. You could have got down under 10K, which is funny. That picture I posted at 11,000, I should have put. I thought that was expensive. I was like,
yeah.
11,000? Who's paying that? I ain't buying none of this till it goes under 10. I was that guy. Like, it just no way. And now you look back and you're like, dang. So
No,
back
we're
to a
turning into
euphoric
these.
top.
We're
When
turning
you said
into these
euphoric top, euphoric top. Like we didn't hit that, but that doesn't mean that the euphoric top isn't ever coming again either, right? And so that could have just gave all these people this nice window to buy, so that when it actually does something, we're who knows? I guarantee in your mind, based on our convos and stuff, and just I know kind of how like I've kind of got to know you a little bit. Deep down, you're like, man, 175, 250 next cycle, man. Like that's kind of the range. But like, maybe the euphoric top comes and we see 7/5. Is that gonna be a bad thing for us? Nope. It's gonna be a bad thing for all these people trying to shield their nonsense coin. That like you said, that was the crypto savior of speed. It's just kind of funny hearing like you say the reasons now. I mean, I remember privacy being a big thing. That's why I was kind of a soft spot for Zach. I'm like, dude, it was kind of a cool coin. It was like we were talking about that. It's a fork from Bitcoin. I think it was Dash, Zach, Morano. I remember thinking privacy would kind of have a like a window, at some point, as far as an opportunity to work or whatever. But
Yeah.
no, I never did. So
No, I think we're turning into these old grumpy men now because when people like shit on Bitcoin, I'm like, then don't buy it. Don't
right,
fucking
right,
buy it. I don't
right.
give a
But don't
fuck.
buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just people are, and then people ask me like, I have friends that ask me what to invest in all the time, and you know, they're like, oh, so like, they're like, what are you waiting for? I'm like, Bitcoin to bottom, and they'll like laugh about it, and I'm like, no, but seriously, that's actually what I'm waiting for, is for Bitcoin to bottom, and I'm gonna buy a lot, and I know, and that's how you know you're in a Bitcoin bear market, because like everybody thinks you're crazy, everybody thinks
Yeah.
you're stupid. That's good,
No, you get the messages, you get people asking if you're okay. Well, Bitcoin store of value. Okay, then don't buy it. I don't care because I will buy it and come to me in 3 years. Like, come to me in 8 years, 9 years.
Not
Like,
even that.
whoa,
Come to me in
shit.
2028, right?
There
Like,
you
come to
go.
me in 2028, and I'll be straight. Like, I'll just be crushing again, and cool, we can all hang out. Like, I don't care. Like, you don't have to buy it. Tell you what, you find something that's worth buying, let me know. It's kind of my thing.
Bring Facts. If you saw the comment, Bring Facts joined us, and he was like, "Yeah, dude, 222K is his guess for next cycles. 222."
I'd be totally okay with that. Like, let's go. That's acceptable. I'm not complaining.
What
The
is that right
200K,
here? That's like a
oh,
4x?
almost a 4x.
Yeah. All
That's
right.
kind of probably the range it'll go, probably a 4x, with standard market conditions. However, here's the thing, like, you look at the amount precious metals rose in Q1, and it's astronomical, the amount of market cap that went there. Then all that money looks like it likely might have flowed into AI. And it's like, how much more money is going to be in the system in 2028 to flow into Bitcoin? Because eventually investors will be like, well, this trade over here is this is just beat up. There's actually some value here, you know. And then all of a sudden, Bitcoin becomes actually a good investment.
Well,
All of a sudden,
Bitcoin's also the only thing that you can't create more of. So, there's kind of something there to it that there's only 21 million. Like, people like to kind of just dismiss that part. And they're like, yeah, but like the stocks, like, it go up and AI is so inventive. But it's like, yeah, they can just make more. They can
yeah,
split stocks. They can just create stocks out of thin air. They can create money out of thin air. But do you know one thing that they can create is more Bitcoin? And I kind of want to hold on to something that they can't create and that the government can't touch. Kind of
right.
cool.
It won't be hard to sell if they restrict your ability to transact, right? So it's like, I
Well,
gotta
at that
sell. I
point, it's
gotta
gonna
sell all
be
these other things about Bitcoin to people, you know. But until like I could just transact and they can, it's like kind of like being the being sick analogy. It's like if you're healthy, you have 100 problems. If you're sick, you have one. So if you can't move your money, you have I don't have that. I don't even have a problem. I could transact with people. I could transact in person if I keep a little bit of physicals, around me. If I need to do an apocalyptic event, I've always said that's what I considered physical. It's apocalyptic money. And then with Bitcoin, it's like I can still trade. They could be mining it in Uzbekistan. We still have a network available. I can still transact. Things could still work.
exactly.
So
Awesome, dude. And Bring Facts was like AI and SpaceX shits back into Bitcoin over the next 2 years is my guess. And I'm like, yeah, probably. It's so overvalued. We'll see.
for sure.
SpaceX though is back up to like 174, which is absolutely insane. And I'm up 28% today on my one share. So go me. Maybe I'll sell
Crushing.
it. I'll sell it and go sports gamble on the U.S. game.
Dude, you could just keep it. You know what I mean? What if they
I, I'm
10 to
gonna.
1?
I'm,
What
I'm
if they
gonna.
10 to 1 split in 2 years? Now you got 10 shares. It's like you just never know what's going to happen. You'd be like,
I'm
oh, yeah,
just
about
gonna
this
hang
one
around.
random.
But dude, thanks for joining me. And
Yeah, for sure, man. It's always a blast kicking it, man. I love it.
yeah. And thank you guys for listening. I know some people tuned in a little later, but this will be available on Apple, Spotify, Rumble, and the full episode on YouTube if you just tuned in and want to listen to the rest of it. Because that was a fun conversation. I always enjoy talking to you, man. And I
Same.
can't wait until you come down here to Florida and actually like enjoy yourself instead of up there in the cold. And
Hey, Michigan summers is the best.
uh,
Just for the record,
didn't
I'll
you
get
almost
some
get hit by a
defenders here.
tornado last night?
Dude, at like 10:30, I'm like laying in bed and all our phones go off, and I'm like, dude, we got to go like in the basement. It was crazy, but no, it was just rain, just paranoid. It's all good though.
All right, all right. Well, yeah, thank you guys for listening. And if you are listening to this, make sure you subscribe. I'm gonna get to 1,000 subscribers here soon, man. Just past 500. I'm already at like 560. Woo! So let's go. All right. Well, we will catch you guys next time. Peace.